One of the things that I love in life the most is vinyl records. And I got my first record player about a year ago from my Uncle Jim. Now, when my Uncle Jim gave me this record player, he gave me an old one that he had. It was really nice. In fact, this one had a feature where you pretty much press a start button and it lifts the arm up and it drops the needle on the record for you. That way you don't have to do it with your hands. There's not a lot of messing up, not a lot of scratching the record, and not a lot of problems. So I was really excited once I got this record player back to Rexburg, and I went to set it up. And one thing that he had told me is that you have to balance the counterweight on the needle out so that the needle height is right and it sits right on the record. It doesn't go too far down onto the record and it doesn't lift too far off of the record. So seemed easy enough, and I had started messing with the weights to try to get it the right way, and I felt like when I would kind of lean it over the empty plate that it was in the right spot. So I took a record out, and this record is one of my favorites that I'd gotten. I'd listened to it on CD and MP3 before, but I was really excited to have the vinyl. And it was Bob Dylan's Highway 61 Revisited. So I get this record and I look at it and it's pristine. It's just glowing, it's shimmering in the light. And I put it down and I press start and the needle comes up and it comes over. And it started dropping down, and it dug right into the record and made a huge scratch that was irreparable. And my record was ruined. Now, this wouldn't have happened if I just asked my Uncle Jim exactly what I needed to do to be able to balance the needle correctly. And something that I think happens in a lot of workplaces today is that people are afraid to ask for advice. They're afraid to ask how to do certain tasks that they don't understand. Someone assigns them to do something, and they assume that if they tell them that they don't know how to do that thing, then they'll get in trouble, or they'll seem unqualified, or whatever the case may be. I've seen it many times in the place I worked. In fact, we had a meeting last week that an account executive, I work at an ad agency, and there was an account executive that we had just hired. And she went in to be in charge of a meeting, but she hadn't really been trained on how that meeting should go. But because she didn't tell anyone that she didn't know how the meeting would go, it wasn't until someone came in about 15 minutes into the meeting and realized that she didn't know what she was doing that we realized that we needed to correct that. And it wasn't so much that we were mad at her for not coming to us as we were sad that we had wasted time. I mean, this is something that we could have told her in the very beginning, and we could have skipped these steps that ended up wasting the company's time. And so I think it's important to always be able to get over your pride and just be able to ask for help. Because if you do that, then it will help you to get in the groove rather than getting in a rut.